What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is The Hateful Eight. This film was first requested to be by Total Bro Life staff on my It Follows review that I released back on the 4th of July. I feel like I should be dressed in a cowboy hat or something for this review, considering it's a Western film. This hat works okay I guess, but I look more like a cross between Mary Poppins and Heisenberg than a cowboy. But anyway, let's get into my review of The Hateful Eight. Okay, so The Hateful Eight is a 2015 American Western mystery film that was written and directed by Quentin Tarantino that stars a ton of great actors such as Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Bruce Dern. The film mostly revolves around an 8-person cast, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention the other 4 actors, Walton Goggins, Demian Bichir, Tim Roth, and Michael Madsen. So this movie takes place in Wyoming sometime after the American Civil War and kicks off with Samuel L. Jackson's character, Major Marquez Warren, a bounty hunter hitching a ride during a blizzard with Kurt Russell's character John Ruth the Hangman and Jennifer Jason Leigh's character Daisy Domergue on their trip to Red Rock, Wyoming. John Ruth, who's also a bounty hunter, is transporting Daisy Domergue to Red Rock so she can hang for her crimes and so he can collect the $10,000 reward for bringing her in. He could just shoot her and bring her body in because the warrant says dead or alive, but when John Ruth the Hangman catches you, you hang, and that's just his style. Well, the trio eventually pick up a man by the name of Chris Mannix, played by Walton Goggins, who claims he's the newly elected sheriff of Red Rock, and he's headed there now to be sworn in, but he's been stranded in this blizzard. Well, the now group of 4 eventually stops at a stagecoach lodge called Minnie's Haberdashery outside the city of Red Rock because the blizzard's so bad that they need to wait it out for a few days. Upon arrival at Minnie's Haberdashery, the group of 4 meets 4 men who are staying at the lodge and each have a unique story about where they come from and where they're going. But John Ruth thinks that at least one of these men is lying about who they are and where they come from, and they're trying to free Daisy Domergue, who's a leader of a big bad Western gang and is obviously a very valuable asset. The rest of the movie is spent trying to uncover the mystery of who's lying and actually trying to kill the rest of the lodge's inhabitants and free Daisy Domergue. Okay, so if you've ever seen a Quentin Tarantino movie before, then you know his films can be pretty polarizing. Most people really enjoy his films or really can't stand them at all. I'm a big Tarantino fan and I think that he makes really good movies that all have a very unique and clearly identifiable style. While this movie certainly has that Tarantino trademark style in some ways, it's definitely a little bit different than the other 7 films he's done. It's different because there's not nearly as much action as you come to expect from a Tarantino movie. That's not to say that there isn't any, there definitely is, but it doesn't really come until the tail end of the film. This movie is mostly about the characters and the dialogue because first and foremost, it's a mystery film. It really feels like a game of Clue that you're watching unfold on screen, except instead of guys like Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum, you have Joe Gage and Oswaldo Mowbray. Now, the first time I saw this movie, I thought it was just okay. I think I thought it was just okay because I absolutely love Django Unchained, Tarantino's 7th film that was also a Western, and I expected a similar type of film to that for Hateful Eight. But upon my second watch of Hateful Eight that I completed this morning, I found that I appreciated it a little bit more. Like I said, this movie is definitely not an action movie first and foremost. It's about the mystery and the characters and the dialogue. It feels more like a play than it does a movie in some cases, considering there's chapters that flash on screen and sometimes you get this narration and so on, and this is obviously much different than what you get from Django Unchained. So I came into my first viewing experience of The Hateful Eight with the wrong expectation and it diminished my experience. So if you haven't seen this movie yet and plan to sometime in the near future, just remember to expect mystery and some action, but not Django level action going in. The second time around, since I knew the ending, I was able to look back at all the subtle hints that the film gives you as to who the disguised villain is and how things are going to play out. The characters' interactions and things they say and how some things don't add up, like an item that's out of place in the cabin that explains prior events and so on. This film just does a really good job of putting all the pieces of the puzzle in play and gradually introducing you to where those pieces fit in this mystery story. So just pay attention to the little details and I bet you'll appreciate this film even more once you arrive at the ending. The characters are the foundation of this movie more so than any other Tarantino movie that I've ever seen because their interactions and mannerisms are really the driving force of this plot. Each character has a very unique personality and identity that brings something special to the story being told, and you as the viewer have to decide who you trust and who you don't. There wasn't one single weak link in this entire movie. All 8 of the main cast members plus the supporting cast members were all great and extremely interesting and compelling in their given role. If I had to pick my favorite characters, I'd probably say they were Major Marquez Warren, Daisy Domergue, and Chris Mannix the sheriff. These 3 performances were each outstanding in their own way and brought humor, drama, and mystery to the story. Okay, so the dialogue in this movie was extremely well written and always felt true to the the characters. It was written perfectly for this type of film because each character has mystery and intrigue surrounding them and their story, and that's expressed to you through their dialogue and interactions with the other characters. There's also a lot of really cleverly written lines that you will likely be really impressed with if you like Tarantino's style at all. The dude is just an exceptional storyteller and knows how to write good, well-developed and interesting characters, and I think these characters are some of his finest work yet. There's also that standard Tarantino humor present in this movie, and to me it's absolutely hilarious. Now this brand of humor won't be funny to everyone because it's Tarantino, and nothing about Tarantino movies appeal to everyone. This isn't like your standard like Will Ferrell or Kevin Hart brand of humor that appeals to pretty much anyone. There's definitely some racial and sexual jokes like in Django, so if that's something you're uncomfortable with, then just a heads up, this movie may not be for you. Okay, so there was really only one thing that I didn't like about this movie. That thing being that it's almost 3 hours long, and it does get a little repetitive and, dare I say, boring in some spots. There's a lot of character interaction and discussions that you may feel like you've seen play out earlier in the movie and that you're now seeing for the second or third time. I know this is to further develop the characters and their relationships, but after a while you're probably like me where you're gonna be like, I wanna see some shit go down. You will see shit go down, but it does take a while. Just a heads up though, when shit does go down, it's pretty gruesome and this movie is rated R, so just expect some over-the-top Tarantino brand of violence because that's definitely what you get here. I also want to say real quick that I really enjoyed the ending of this movie. It felt perfect and definitely met my expectations for how I expected things to end. Things become very violent very quickly and the movie definitely ends with a bang, I'll just say that. So overall I really enjoyed this movie, even more so upon my second watch. I thought it had great acting and a great cast, a very unique and well-written story, snappy dialogue that was really well written and added to the mystery and intrigue of the characters, and a good climax and ending. The only bad thing I can say about this movie is that it's pretty long and does get a tad repetitive and boring at times. This is a very important factor, but I'm still going to give this movie a 9 out of 10 and say that you should definitely see it if you've enjoyed previous Quentin Tarantino films or you love Western or mystery films in general. So did you guys see Hateful Eight yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether this is your kind of movie or not. And as always, if you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. Thanks again to Total Bro Life staff for the request, whose channel link you can find in the description below. That's all for now. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.